All right, so in today's this video, we're going to be talking about solving for absolute values and extraneous solutions. So in this situation, you're going to have x's on both sides. Okay, so remember, an absolute value can never be equal to a negative number. So if you get a negative number as an at the end, that means that it's possibly not a solution. So when I mean this, you'll see what I mean in a second. I'm not saying my solution it can't be a negative number. I'm just saying you have to plug it back in to see if it gives you a true statement. Okay, so what do I mean? Same process. You're negating the other value. So let's have this equation real quick. Let's say I have the absolute value of x minus 5 equals x, right? Simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You know what? Let's say 2x plus 3. Let's make this a little bit more difficult. Okay, because that wouldn't work. All right, so in this situation, you have absolute value of x minus 5 equals 2x plus 3. Okay, now the same rules apply. We separate this into two equations, right? You're going to get your two equations. The first equation is going to be x minus 5 equals 2x plus 3, right? The second equation is going to be x minus 5 equals. Now, here is what I like to do. I like to draw the negative symbol, and we're going to do 2x plus 3. This reminds me to distribute this negative number, this negative 1, to both the 2x and the 3. So really, this situation becomes x minus 5 equals negative 2x minus 3. Okay? All right, now we have our two equations. We're going to go ahead and we're going to solve for these two equations to get a value for x. Okay, I'm going to get my x's over to one side, so I'm going to subtract x to both sides. And in this situation, that goes away. I'm left with negative 5 equals x plus 3. Subtract 3 to both sides, and x equals negative 8. So that's a possible solution, right? Okay. Okay, on this situation, now again, we're going to get our x's to one side. This time I'm going to add 2x over here. That cancels. That leaves me with 3x minus 5 equals negative 3. I add 5 to both sides. I get 3x equals 2. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 2/3. So this is another one of my possible solutions. So those are the situations. Let's go ahead and bring this over to the next page. X equals negative 8, x equals 2/3. Okay, so x equals negative 8, x equals 2/3, right? Those are my two solutions, okay? And then we have this equation, x, absolute value of x minus 5. So the absolute value of x minus 5 is equal to 2x plus 3. Okay, so those are my solutions. Now I have to check for extraneous solutions. What that means is I plug those values in and see if I get a true statement. So I'm going to plug this negative 8 in for wherever I see the x. So negative 8 minus 5, absolute value. Negative 8 minus 5 is a negative 13. Absolute value of negative 13 is positive 13. Okay, let's see if I get positive 13 on the other side. 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Negative 16 plus 3 is negative 13. Unfortunately, I don't get that value. Okay, so that means negative 8 is not a solution. Okay, so I plugged the negative 8 in. That's not a solution. I'm going to go ahead and try the 2/3. Okay, so in this situation, I'm going to try the 2/3. I plugged the 2/3 in for x. Okay, so here I have 2/3 minus 5, and that's the absolute value. All right, I'm going to change 5 into thirds by multiplying it by 3. 5 times 3 is 15, so that's actually 2/3 minus 15/3, right? 15 divided by 3 is 5. This makes it a little bit easier. So now 2 minus 15 is a negative 13/3. And the absolute value of negative 13/3 is positive 13/3. Okay, so positive 13 thirds. Now we do the same thing over here. Okay, plug in 2/3. So I better get positive 13 thirds on the end. Okay, so 2 times 2/3. Sorry, 2/3 plus 3. Okay, 2 times 2/3 is 4/3 plus 3. I'm going to rearrange 3 so that it's in thirds. 3 times 3 is 9, so that's 9/3. Right? 4/3 plus 9/3. 4 plus 9 is 13. That gives me 13/3. And that is a true statement. Okay, that means x equals 2/3 is my one solution, and x equals -8 is extraneous. And that means that it doesn't solve, right? So that's what it means when you have your extraneous solutions. Okay, always go back and check. Now, sometimes it'll work, and sometimes both of them will be extraneous, and you're basically left with no solution. Okay, but always go back and check once you find the solution. Now, make sure that you notice right here. I'm going to go back to this page. See how I created my two equations, right? On the second equation, I'm negating the whole entire equation so that I can solve. Let's work through one more. Okay, let's try this. Let's try the absolute value of 6x minus 4 is equal to 2x plus 8. Okay, let's see if it works. I don't know. I'm just making up these numbers, so we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to drag these across. Again, I'm solving, so I'm going to break these down into two equations. The first equation, right, basically you're getting rid of the absolute values. So you have 6x minus 4 equals 2x plus 8. On the second equation, I'm going to distribute a negative. So 6x minus 4 equals negative 2x plus 8. So here I distribute this negative, right? Make sure we do that piece. So this equation actually should be 6x minus 4 equals negative 2x plus 8. Or sorry, minus 8. My apologies. Okay, because I distribute that negative to both of them. Let's start solving for x. Okay, minus 2x minus 2x. Okay, that gives me 4x minus 4 equals 8. Add 4 to both sides. We get 4x equals 12. Divide by 4, x equals 3. All right, x equals 3. Now, that's a possible solution. That's not my solution yet. I got to go back and check and see if it works. Okay, now let's look at this next one. Okay, here I have 6x minus 4 equals negative 2x minus 8. Let's solve for x here. Add 2x to both sides. Add 2x to both sides. Cancels. 8x minus 4 equals negative 8. Add 4 to both sides. Add 4 to both sides. 8x equals negative 4, right? Because we added 8 to both sides. Or sorry, we added 4 to both sides. My apologies. Okay, divide both sides by 8. X equals negative 1/2. Okay, so what we would do in this situation, again, we plug these values in. We plug them in for x. So let's 6x minus 4, right? So absolute value of 6x minus 4 equals, what was it, 2x plus 8, right? Yeah, 2x plus 8. And I had my two possible solutions, x equals 3, x equals negative 1/2. So x equals 3, x equals negative 1/2. Let's check, right? Let's plug 3 into those values. So 6 times 3 minus 4, absolute value. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 minus 4 is 14. The absolute value of 14 is 14. So far we got 14 on the left. Okay, so 2 times 3 plus 8. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 8 is in fact 14. So therefore, x equals 3 is a solution. Now we have to check to see if the negative 1/2 is a solution. And it's still possible. Just because it's negative doesn't mean that it's not a solution. It just means that we definitely want to check. Okay? So let's go ahead and try this. 6 times negative 1/2. Okay, minus 4. Absolute value. 6 times negative 1/2 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. Absolute value of negative 7 is 7. Right? Again, I plugged in that negative 1/2 there. And that's fine. I can do that. Okay? Now I should get positive 7 on the other end. Right? Okay, so we have 2 times negative 1/2 plus 8. 2 times negative 1/2 is a negative 1. Negative 1 plus 8, you guessed it, is 7. So these two are solutions. Okay? And that's what you always got to look for extraneous. Sometimes they will be, sometimes they won't. And just because it's a negative doesn't necessarily mean it won't be a solution. Okay? So that's solving with variables on both sides. Anytime there's a variable on the left and the right, always check for extraneous. Period. Okay? Always, always, always.